Hello, everybody.
Howdy.
Oh, Apasta News Network here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for your comments and emails and everything. I want to thank, there was some of you who gave us some donations, and I want to thank you very much. I haven't had a chance to email you directly and thank you, so, thank you. Wanted to mention that. Lisa and Richard, thank you for the card. Very sweet. My first Valentine's.
Wait a minute. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. I'm in trouble now. I forgot Valentine's Day. I love you.
Laura, thank you for the gift. We've been using them. Love the muscle rub. And, so much. I don't even know where to begin here. And I wanted to mention that I've had a couple of people who are just newly out, and 3 of them, I think. They've all asked me about the name Jehovah, asked us about the name Jehovah. And I don't think we've had a chance to upload the old video to our new channel. But, like we keep saying, we don't want to tell anybody what to believe. Just, do your research. But I just wanted to mention that, when you go to Watchtower literature, like the 1980 Watchtower, February 1st, page 11 to 13, where they admit that it was an invented name by the Catholic monk Raimundas Martini.
Wasn't that one of the drops of poison that we did in the glass?
Yeah. Like we mentioned, that was a drop of poison. But I just wanted to mention, I forgot to say it during that video, that when Elder Pete and his sidekick showed up out here, I asked them about that, and I showed them right from the Watchtower magazine itself, where it said that. And I was told that the governing body, the faithful slave, has chosen to use the name Jehovah for his people. And that if we want to be Jehovah's Witnesses, if we want to belong to this organization, that since they have chosen this name, then we need to use it. Doesn't matter whether it's, the history or anything.
Let me see if I understand what Pete was saying, because you have to remember, Pete usurped my headship.
Oh, yeah.
Coming into my house and having this
according to their
spiritual
rules.
Conversation with Kim. So let me understand this. If this Catholic monk back in the 1200s decided that the Tetragrammaton meant Beelzebub, that we'd all now be praying to Beelzebub? Am I understanding this right, Elder Pete?
Oh, well, it doesn't
because
matter.
The faithful slave says we have to follow the name that they chose, but yet they didn't choose the name. They're following the name that was invented by a Catholic monk. So if this same Catholic monk, under divine inspiration, decided that the Tetragrammaton was pronounced Beelzebub, that's who you'd all be praying to, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Exactly. And I also want to mention that Mark and Cora, those 2 dear people, love you guys dearly.
We dropped the ball.
You came up with a brilliant idea, and I kind of dropped the ball, but I finally got it up and running, and hopefully it will work properly. But on our website, watchtower.expose, there should be a button at the top that says Watchtower Survivor Library. And like I said, Mark and Cora had a brilliant idea.
Yeah, this is their idea, not ours.
That those who want to tell their story, and we want to do kind of like a library to where others can go and read. But if you tell your experience, your horrible abuse problems, your problems with elders, any problem you had with that, family members who commit suicide because of Watchtower, anything like that that you want to get off your chest, you can do it anonymously. We will not publish your email, but you can go on that page and you'll see Mark and Cora's picture, and then you'll see down below where it says comments. Now it will have a math problem there, and that's the CAPTCHA thing so that they know you're a person instead of, a computer. But all you have to do is type in the answer to that math problem, and then you can click on comment and leave your comment. And like I said, do it anonymously, share your story, get this off your chest, and hopefully, we can gather these stories, kind of like a library of shame for Watchtower.
Yeah. And please, let's just try to refrain from vulgarities and things like that, because we want to keep in mind that ultimately there are going to be current Jehovah's Witnesses that are going to click on this. Current Jehovah's Witnesses that are maybe conflicted with Watchtower's flip-flopping doctors. Even some that are conflicted about watching the Happy at Bethel video, because this totally contradicts what Watchtower's been preaching for decades.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're going to get a little bit more on that here in just a minute.
Yeah.
So please try to keep it, we understand the anger, we understand, the feelings that are associated, the feelings of loneliness, and don't think for 1 minute, friends, that no matter how trivial you think your story might be, it's not. It's important. Because if there's one in this organization that calls itself God's organization to mankind on earth, if there's one that has these feelings, you can damn well bet there's more.
Yeah. And, we get these stories all the time. We've talked to Mark and Cora. They get these stories all the time, these horrible stories of the abuse and what people, what the brothers and sisters have to go through. So we feel this is kind of like bringing the community closer together and to share your stories. And like I said, to make a Watchtower library of shame. That this is what they are doing.
And so again, Mark and Cora, Kim and I, please accept our apologies that we dropped the ball in this. I had no excuse other than that we just flat dropped the ball. So, but we've picked it up again, and hopefully we can get it rolling now.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another thing we started to mention, when Ding started, is if you guys haven't had a chance, Fairytale, love you, brother.
Tom, I'm telling you, are the game.
Yeah. He has done a video, and he calls into headquarters, and he has
several times. Several times,
yes.
Because it's an hour and 22-minute long video.
For some reason, him and Jerry Jones have this touch. They've got this magic ability to get these brothers to talk at headquarters. And boy, they get some gems, This is how you call headquarters. And I mean, it's excellent. But it's interesting because at 59 minutes and 14 seconds, what is say here?
Tom, Fairytale, I was taking notes of all the crap that was coming out of the elder's mouth. But there was a couple that were like, oh my God, did you hear this? We actually had to go back. But around 49 minutes, 59 minutes, thank you, Fairytale asks a question, and now I forget what the question was, but hear Jehovah's word or speak or something to that effect.
Something about being taught by Jehovah.
Yeah, the elder comes back and says, if you want to hear God's message, you need to go to jw.org. You need to go to jw.broadcast. You need to go to jw.this, jw.that. Not one time did that elder ever say, you need to read your Bible. Now, if that's not a cult, then I don't know what is. Because see here, people, the Bible says, out of the heart's abundance, so the mouth will speak. The Bible is not in the hearts of this organization. It's not in the, no matter what they say. Even at another point, Fairytale gets this one of the elders to admit, to say that Jesus is the head of the congregation, and this guy Fairytale is brilliant. This guy knows Watchtower inside and out. He knows how to get these knuckleheads to actually contradict themselves. So, at one point, one elder says, and Fairytale agrees, that Jesus is the head of the congregation. When he's got that last elder on there, and towards the end of the video, the elder actually says that this is Jehovah's organizations, which includes all of his congregations. Wait a minute. I thought the congregations belonged to Christ, not Jehovah. Out of the heart's abundance, so the mouth speaks. See, isn't it funny that now, and at one other point, even getting back to the head of the, when he's talking about drawing close, because Fairytale comes off as a guy who's really conflicted and he's got all these problems and everything else. So the elder, one of the elders says, well, you need, draw close to Jehovah's organization, to Jehovah and the organization. And not one time does this elder even says you really need to draw close to Christ. See, Christ is not in the hearts of these men leading this organization.
Well, what did the elder say at one point? It was something about music, and then Fairytale said...
Can you imagine Jehovah tapping his feet to this happy song?
Video?
Yeah, well, no, to the happy song. He says, can you imagine? Can you imagine Jehovah tapping his feet to the happy song? Well, now I have to ask, Fairytale and Watchtower, can you imagine? Now, since Watchtower keeps pushing JW Broadcasting, JW.O, to learn from Jehovah, can you imagine Jehovah tapping his feet to the singing cart song? It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And these people, I mean, it's really amazing how somebody like JW Fairytale can do such a bang-up job calling headquarters, getting all of this stuff coming out of their mouth, and he only gets 1,000 views. That's really a shame.
Yeah. Jerry Jones calls Watchtower constantly, gets all these gems from the elders, and it just breaks my heart that he only gets maybe 100 views. And, I would love to see this go viral and these spread, a million views all over the internet. But what's interesting is I sent Fairytale's video to our friend Deep Throat, and he come back with these comments. And he says, I love how the first elder adamantly tells Fairytale not to send the video to anyone else and to tell the JW who sent it to him to stop doing it too. Watchtower justifies the rightness of the video, but is completely embarrassed by it. Which is it then? Is the video acceptable or not? If acceptable, obviously it was played at Bethel, then own it. If not, then apologize. Publish an apology and ask for forgiveness. What is astonishing about the elders' responses is that they justify the rightness of the video, but then shift responsibility for it to some unnamed Bethelite as a mistake.
Yep.
A mistake that it was made, but that it got published on the internet. But the elders forgot one thing. Regardless of whether it was made by an individual off Bethel time, the simple fact is it was played at Bethel Family Night and obviously sanctioned by Watchtower higher-ups. Yep. And that's exactly what I told Mike.
That's exactly what Kim and I said.
The minute we heard this elder say this on Fairytale's video, it's like it was sanctioned by Watchtower.
So, if you go and listen to Fairytale's video, Watchtower is spending dedicated money to preaching and publishing God's message to producing choreographed happy videos.
Yeah. Now, I remember that the elder told Fairytale at one point that this was done off time. This was done when they were off. Like on a Sunday. And I'm thinking, okay, the brother in the kitchen making the sausages. Okay, so you're making him make sausages on a Sunday?
You've got someone sitting in a dental chair on a Sunday. Wait a minute. Shouldn't you be at the Kingdom Hall?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be listening to your public talks on a Sunday?
Well, I think, doesn't Fairytale say that?
Yeah,
you mean they were working on Sunday? No. This video shows them working. This is daylight hours.
So
if it's Sunday, they should be at the Kingdom Hall.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Fancy Pant Elder, that your workforce, those that volunteered their time to go help build your new facilities at Wallkill, that guy that was dancing from side to side on that earth-moving excavator, by the way, we're getting a hold of OSHA. Okay? We're sending a letter to OSHA. This is an unsafe use of equipment. He would know. I know. I spent 14 years in the equipment rental business.
He was the manager.
OSHA would have a shit fit when they... I'm telling you, they will have a shit fit when they see this.
Especially with people right in front of this excavator, and the arm of it is swinging. Oh, yeah.
If this guy's doing this in this excavator, all of a sudden he has a heart attack, somebody's dying. Yeah. Okay? But you're telling me that this work group that's volunteering their time and their services to help build Bethel did this on a Sunday?
Got all dressed up in their work equipment?
Not buying it for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Not buying it for 1 minute. Fairytale, you are the game.
So back to Deep Throat's comments. It says, Watchtower had to approve of it ahead of time in order to be played at Bethel. And he's absolutely right. If they played this for all the Bethel family during family worship night...
They had to edit it. They had to watch it.
It had to have been approved ahead of time. Because they don't just throw any old video, on
yeah, especially on family worship night.
Yeah. So at the 13-minute mark, the brother tries to excuse the video by saying, look, at Jehovah's Witnesses as a whole, look at Jehovah's Witnesses as a whole instead of judging them by the video. None of us are perfect. The video was a mistake, but look at the organization as a whole. Really?
Really? Yeah.
So then, Deep Throat's comments to that is, then when it comes to JC meetings, why do 3 elders focus only on the one-time mistake instead of the person's whole life course? Then DF that person for the one mistake? Typical double standards of Watchtower. It excuses itself for everything, but individuals get no break at all. Just like the pedophile cases, Watchtower is only concerned with getting caught, not that a crime was actually committed. The second elder absolutely cannot simply say, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. It's impossible for Watchtower to admit a mistake. All of the elders Fairytale talked to said the video is acceptable because it was intended solely for private viewing by the Bethel family. Now, this is profound.
This is profound.
Deep Throat,
private
you're brilliant
viewing.
too.
Oh,
love you, brother.
There was never any question about Deep Throat's brilliance.
Yeah, exactly. Because it was intended for private viewing only, then the content of the video is irrelevant and no one should judge Watchtower for it. Okay, so then he comes back and he says, my question, then why doesn't Watchtower apply the same reasoning to pornography? If OJW watches pornography in the privacy of his own home and it's for his private entertainment only, then the content of the video is irrelevant and Watchtower should not judge anyone on it. Right? Exactly.
See, Watchtower, you can't escape it no more. You just cannot dance around it.
Yes.
You're done.
Okay, now I have been trying to get some more done on the Beast, because like I said, I still have not gone through all of it, and I'm still trying to organize it and upload it, to the correct files, and I have come across some gems. And I don't have, all the other information in front of me, but I did find this one and thought, let's just do a quick thing on this. I have a declassified memo, and it was declassified May 21st, 1993. And it's in government papers, okay? And it is a memo dated March 28th, 1941. It's a memorandum from Mr. L.M.C. Smith, the Chief Special Defense Unit. And this is what the memo says. There is transmitted herewith a dossier showing the I can't speak French. Dossier showing the information presently available in the files of this Bureau with respect to Joseph Franklin Judge Rutherford, whose address is 4440 Brayborn Road, San Diego, California. It is recommended that this individual be considered for custodial detention in the event of a national emergency. The information contained on the attached dossier constitutes the basis for appropriate consideration in this regard. It should be understood, of course, that additional information may be received from time to time, supplementing that already available in the Bureau's files. And as such data are received, they will be made available to you so that the dossier in your possession may be supplemented thereby. It will be greatly appreciated if you will advise this Bureau at your earliest convenience as to the decision reached in this case. And then it's stamped by like these numbers, and it's signed by J.E. Hoover.
Yeah. That
blew me away. And it says John Edgar Hoover, Director.
Well, it's not that some of us were not already aware that Rutherford was, that the FBI was actually putting together a file on Rutherford. We know that there's a lot of people studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, that this information is new to them, and And it's true. When Watchtower tries to sell their idea that these men were put in prison for sedition, well, they won't tell you it was sedition. They'll tell you it was something else. But it just goes to show that in the United States, Rutherford was considered a risk to national security.
Yeah.
To national security, because he was printing so much anti-government stuff in the magazines, the Golden Ages, the Constellations, and the Watchtowers. And let's put all of this into perspective. At that time and era, Germany was already at war with the United States allies. And now you've got this knucklehead Rutherford preaching anti-United States propaganda. Of course that's a national security. Of course that's a national threat.
Well, if Hitler had spies and they let the U.S. government know that Rutherford had written a love letter to Hitler, promoting the Nazi, and it was in their yearbook, I think, in, what was it, 1927, 1929, whatever it was. And so, of course, you're going to have the FBI investigating you for anti-government, treason, sedition. I mean, all of that.
And
conspiracy.
And then Watchtower says, well, then Jehovah exonerated them. Jehovah got them out of prison.
It was their lawyers.
It was their lawyers. Exactly. But if you're a Jehovah's Witness and this is new to you, do your research. Everything that you need to escape the grips of this cult is online now. You don't have to live your life in fear no more. There's nothing to fear with this organization. You people, you Jehovah's Witnesses, live in fear because you allow it. Not because these men are beating it into you, because you're allowing it. Because you're afraid that if I leave Jehovah's organization, I'm going to die at Armageddon. If I leave Jehovah's organization, they're going to hold my family captive. Yeah, you know what? The second part of that's true. They will hold your family captive.
Yeah.
They will.
Now, we understand, several of you, thousands of you have to stay in the organization, for different reasons. And we understand that. We actually admire you guys because, I couldn't, live a double life. I couldn't live a double life, so it takes so much mental stress and everything to do this.
Well, that's it. Just look at the added stress now.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I mentioned in my very first video I ever did in October of 2013, I was always taught that before the end we would have to face a trial, a test on our faith. And, it was incredible, when I realized when we were going through all this with our witch hunt and the elders meetings and stuff and then was disfellowshipped, it's like, oh my God. This test of faith, it doesn't come from the governments or the UN or, Babylon the Great or the wild beast, like we were always taught. No, this comes where you get to the point and realize, oh my God, I'm going to have to decide between Christ or the organization. That's your test of faith. And it's very difficult to make because we didn't know that this is what it was going to be. Your whole foundation is pulled out from under you.
I was almost expecting to have my fingernails ripped out by some contenders of Watchtower. No way.
Yeah, I thought the government, was going to be coming and nailing me to a stake or a cross or something and say, give up your religion or whatever, torture and all of that. That's what I was expecting mentally. And then this is so subtle. It was shocking. It was shocking. It's like I wasn't prepared for this. So, anyway, thank you for watching our video, and you all have a great day.
We had a few more news items, but I think we kind of forgot. We kind of misplaced them a little bit.
Well, let's just go get them and do another video then.
Yeah, later. We have something else we have to do
first.